Dear friends, welcome to Know Thyself YouTube Channel. Good morning. Hope you are all staying safe and keeping well. I sincerely thank all of you who have subscribed to this channel and follow the channel. If you find the contents of the videos uploaded in this channel useful, please subscribe to this channel and click the notification or the bell icon so that you can be notified when a video is uploaded. Kindly share the videos with others or on the internet. In the last episode of Know Your Mind segment, we stated and explained 4 common unconscious and conscious biases and clarified how we can prevent or minimize their impacts on our unconscious thought processes and conscious decision making. In this episode, we speak about another 3 common unconscious biases, namely Affect-heuristic bias, Recency bias, and Idiosyncratic-rater bias, and how we can prevent or minimize their influence on us. 20th, Affect-heuristic bias. The term heuristics is used to refer to mental shortcuts that help you to make decisions more quickly and efficiently. Affect-heuristic bias consists in you relying on your emotions such as fear, anxiety, surprise, or pleasure in making decisions. Influenced by affect-heuristic bias, you may soon arrive at conclusions to your problems or take decisions more quickly. However, your decisions are often not accurate or fair because they are virtually involuntary, not well thought out, quick decision to some given stimuli, and not based on facts but on distorted or confused thinking. An example of affect-heuristic bias would be you as an interviewer, vexed and offended by an offhand and unintended comment the candidate makes during the interview, decide to reject the candidate despite he being highly qualified for the job. Since your judgment about this candidate is made at the heat of the moment, it is clouded by your emotions and not based on facts. You can avoid or minimize affect-heuristic bias, firstly, by being aware of your emotional levels in a given situation. This would help you to step back from the situation and evaluate it more logically. Secondly, by taking time to reflect. This helps you not to act in a quick, knee-jerk or unthinking manner. Give yourself the space and time after something happens so as to calm your emotions down. See every aspect of the given situation in the light of your goals and thereby enable you to make more objective and well thought out decisions. 21st, recency bias. Recency bias is a cognitive bias wherein you make decisions based on recent events. Hence, it occurs when you give greater importance to recent events which are still alive in your memory over past events that are in the outer realms of your memory. Thus, recency bias leads you to make emotional decisions based on short-term outcomes, while neglecting the rational aspect and what happened in the past regarding the situation. You tend to get caught up in recency bias when you have to process a large amount of information. Recency bias can affect both the nature and quality of your decisions. An example of recency bias would be an interviewer who has to interview a large number of candidates on the same day may lose sight of the candidates he interviewed earlier in the day and focus only on candidates he interviewed recently when it comes to selecting the candidates for the job. Caught up in recency bias in selecting candidates for the job, the interviewer could be unfair to candidates he interviewed earlier. You can overcome or minimize the impact of recency bias, firstly, by using techniques such as note-taking to strengthen your memory. Taking notes during the interview and reviewing them before selecting candidates for the job would help the interviewer to keep track of notable candidates regardless of when he interviewed them. Secondly, by giving yourself mental breaks. Doing back-to-back interviews can be mentally draining. When your working memory takes a toll, recency bias can affect you. Hence, to stay mentally alert, you need to take breaks between interviews. Thereby, allow your mind to absorb and remember the information you gathered about the candidate during the interview. 22nd, idiosyncratic-rater bias. Idiosyncratic-rater bias consists in evaluating the performance of yourself and others based on your subjective interpretations of the assessment criteria and your own definition of what success implies. You tend to evaluate yourself higher in skills you are good at and rate others lower than they are. This is because the lower standards you have for things you do not have knowledge about, while higher standards you have for things you know and have experienced. Thus, your feedback about someone reflects more of your skill rather than the person you are reviewing. Caught up in idiosyncratic-rater bias, you become unreliable in rating yourself and others. Research has shown that 60% of the manager's ratings is a reflection of the managers themselves rather than the team member they are rating. Idiosyncratic-rater bias may stem from other biases such as halo effect bias, affinity bias, and confirmation bias. An example of idiosyncratic-rater bias would be a manager who excels at project management, has high standards for his skill, and gives harsher ratings to the team members for this skill. On the other hand, the same manager is more lenient when rating team members' marketing skills because the manager is less familiar with that area. You can avoid or minimize the impact of idiosyncratic-rater bias firstly by setting specific and clear criteria. Setting clear, proper and specific standards for evaluating performance would provide supporting evidence to evaluate the performance and achievements of people. Secondly, by conducting multi-rater reviews. This process involves people being given feedback from a number of people involved in the project, such as managers, colleagues, and customers, in addition to doing self-evaluation. This approach gives a holistic view of your performance and helps you to identify your potential growth areas. We spoke about 3 unconscious and conscious biases, namely affect-heuristic bias, recency bias, and idiosyncratic-rater bias. We need to take time to reflect and become aware if any of these biases are operative in any sphere of our life and affect our unconscious thought processes and conscious decision making. The greater is the awareness of our biases, the greater can we prevent their influence in our everyday living, thereby make life better for ourselves and others. In the next episode, we will talk about the benefits of being conscious of our unconscious biases and tackling them. Thank you for watching this video. Stay blessed until we see you again with another video.